So I've taught over this lesson before, and I like to call it weathering the storm. And I love this lesson because it's really easy for me to apply to my life. Because I've been through a literal storm in my life. It's basically just talking about the challenges of Christianity. I think it's really easy for a lot of people in their walk with God to think that whenever you accept God into your life, that your life is just instantly clean. It's pure and there's never going to be any conflict. But the reality is that once you accept God into your life, in a way, it gets harder. There's temptations in the world that make it harder for you to live a clean life and a clean walk with God. So I'm just going to dive into that. But first, I would like to tell where the story Weathering the Storms come from. I believe it was my dad and mom can help me refresh, but I think it was March 19th of 2020. We had just entered COVID and we were all shut down. So I was taking an opportunity to get out of the house because, like many people, I'm sure that's where I didn't want to be all the time. So I was with my cousin Tyree, and he has a ranch, and we were out at this ranch working. We were working with cows and we were building fence. And I remember there being a big storm that rolled in. So obviously we couldn't do anything. So we went in the barn. He's got 2 huge doors in his barn, and we were watching the storm. And I remember looking to my right and seeing a huge strike of lightning, and we could hear it. It was like it had hit right on the ground from where we were. So about 10 minutes later, I get a call from my grandma, and she's calling, and she's frantic, and she says, "You need to get home now. The house got struck by lightning. Your room is on fire." So I remember getting home, and a literal storm. I remember getting home and seeing my room on fire, seeing smoke coming out of my room, and I remember being so consumed with the thought that, this is terrible. This is the worst thing that could have happened to me. My room is on fire. I'm going to lose all my material things. And in the midst of that, after we had gotten the fire put out, we got on the roof with hoses and we were putting it out. I went into my room and it was destroyed. I mean, most everything in my room was gone. And I remember being so wrapped up in that moment, that every material thing I had was gone. But I looked on my bed rest, and we had just put new furniture in, just got it finished. I looked at my bed rest and I opened it, and my Bible was in there, completely untouched despite all the water from our water hoses, from the firefighters, insulation, but the Bible was untouched. So I took that as an opportunity to fortify my strength in God and my faith in God. So I'm going to open with my first verse. It's Isaiah 26, 3-4. And it's the first step of the storm, and it's the preparation for the storm. It says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast, because they trust in you. Trust in the Lord forever, for the Lord himself is the rock eternal." Now in that moment, I didn't trust in the Lord. I lost sight of the Lord, and I was worried on material things rather than God providing for me. And on that note, I'm going to move to my next verse, and it's Matthew 8, 23-26. It says, "Jesus responded, 'Why are you afraid? You have so little faith.' Then he got up and rebuked the waves and the wind, and suddenly there was a great calm." And this verse is significant to me because it shows exactly what I was doing. I had no faith that things were going to get better for me, and that's essentially why I was so sad that I had a loss of material things, when really all I needed was God. So basically, I wrote down here a breakdown of what that verse is, and it's keeping the focus in the storm. Our house quite literally floods during storms. I mean, we're on a downhill slide, and we've got a trench that we built. But we didn't have that trench originally. So over the years, we had to prepare for whenever it was going to rain. We've now added cinder blocks, and we've got sandbags. We have a shop vacuum for whenever the water does get inside, we're able to vacuum the water up. But that's only because we prepared, because we had a challenge, we had a storm previously, and we had to find a way to overcome it. Now, with most storms in Oklahoma, whenever it rains, there's a rainbow at the end. And this is my rainbow. It's Psalms 41-5. It's a long verse. It says, "I waited patiently for the Lord to help me, and he turned to me and heard my cry. He lifted me out of the pit of despair, out of the mud and the mire. He set my feet on solid ground and steadied me as I walked along. He's given me a new song to sing, a hymn of praise to our God. Many will see what he has done and will be amazed. They will put their trust in the Lord. Oh, the joys of those who trust the Lord, who have no confidence in the proud or in those who worship idols. O Lord my God, you have performed many wonders for us. Your plans for us are too numerous to list. You have no equal. Which, during the song, No Rival, No Equal, that really stuck out to me. But if I tried to recite all your wonderful deeds, I would never come to an end of them. That last line is very significant to me because living in Oklahoma, we're always going to have storms. There's never going to be a time where it's not storming, whether the season or whether the conditions. It seems like on the sunniest of days, it can start raining and the clouds can make the sky dark. Just like in Christianity, it seems like whenever everything is going perfectly fine and you start to think that you don't need to rely completely on God, that's when he gives you another storm. So there's a few parts of this verse that I highlighted. The first one is, he set my feet on solid ground. It says repeatedly throughout the word, we are called to trust in the Lord and fortify our faith in his word. The word is littered with these ideals as evidenced through these three scriptures. The biggest preparation we can have for the challenges of Christianity is to have solid faith in God. God calls us to build our house upon the rock, and he is the rock because he is a solid anchor. So literally that means set your faith in me because I am solid and unchanging. It says at the end of the verse, if I tried to recite all your wonderful deeds, I would never come to the end of them. And Rick, I talked to Rick about a week before this, and he gave me an acronym. It's EAI, and it's Explain, Application, and Illustration. I've explained the meaning, I've given you real illustrations, but the last one I had when I was looking for this verse is one that I really enjoy. And it says, through storms, both large and small, oftentimes we focus on the damage done rather than the gift granted. Meaning that whenever there's a tornado in Oklahoma, everybody focuses on the houses that were destroyed, the cars that were destroyed, things lost, rather than focusing on the positives of it. Sure, the ground may be torn up, but there's room for new soil. Sure, rivers may have washed away, but now there's fertile land. No. A volcanic eruption with its lava and volcanic ash on the outside destroys to the untrained eye, but in reality it brings growth. Amen. The volcano leaves behind fertile nutrients for the earth to have new fruits, much like a flood washes away the old and fertilizes the new. In the wake of challenges, many people see them as a negative. In my life, I've had so many challenges, both big and small, that I've chosen to see the positives in life. In December of 2020, I was probably at the lowest, well, the specific day, I remember December 13th, 2020. I was probably at the lowest point of my life that I've been in up to date. I did everything I could that was wrong because I was tired of trying to do right. When finally I was surrendered, and I talked to Rick about this last time I met him, I was surrendered in my room on the floor, and I asked God for nothing but forgiveness. And I specifically remember asking him to keep on giving me hard trials because I know that he is still working with me. And that is my lesson. Amen.